What does it mean if your crew times out? Hi, I'm Morgan, and this is general aviation information. If you've ever been flying and your flight is either delayed or canceled, and the reason that it's canceled is because your crew timed out, you may want to know what that means. The amount of time that a flight crew can spend on duty is regulated by the federal government. This is because a tired pilot or a tired flight attendant can become a safety hazard. If you have ever flown on a really long flight, you may have noticed that you had more than 2 pilots. In those situations, there are different rules that govern how much rest a pilot needs. For a typical 2-pilot setup, these are the rules that govern how much they can work and how much rest they need. Pilots cannot fly an airplane for more than 8 hours in a 24-hour consecutive period without a rest period during these 8 hours. If a pilot is scheduled to fly more than 8 hours during a 24-hour consecutive period, it shall give this person an intervening rest period at or before the end of the 8 scheduled hours of flight duty. The rest period must be at least 2 times the number of hours flown. That rest period shall not be less than 8 hours, and here is a major factor. That pilot should be relieved of all duty during that rest period. That means they cannot be sitting in the airport or sitting on another plane trying to get to a destination the airline needs them to get to, because that would be considered a duty. If a pilot has flown more than 8 hours during a 24-hour consecutive period, they must be given at least 18 hours of rest before being assigned to another duty. They also cannot fly more than 32 hours during any consecutive 7-day period. And they must be relieved from all duty for at least 24 consecutive hours at least once during any 7 consecutive days. No pilot can fly for more than 100 hours during any calendar month, and no pilot can fly more than 1,000 hours during a 12 calendar month period. In a situation where you have 2 pilots plus 1 additional pilot, which would be like a relief pilot, those rules are different. In that scenario, they can't fly for more than 12 hours during any 24-hour consecutive period. And if a pilot has flown 20 or more hours during any 48 consecutive hours or 24 or more during a 72-hour consecutive period, they must be given 18 hours of rest before being assigned to duty with the air carrier. In that case, they must be given at least 24 consecutive hours of rest during any 7 consecutive days. And the 1-month, 3-month, and 12-month rules for this situation are no more than 120 hours in a 30-day period, no more than 300 hours in a 90-day period, and no more than 1,000 hours during a 12-month period. In the situations with very long flights where you have 3 or more pilots and an additional crew member, there are different rules. Adequate sleeping quarters on the airplane must be provided, and they cannot fly more than 12 hours during any 24-hour consecutive period. The airline must also give each pilot, upon their return to their base from any flight or series of flights, a rest period of at least twice the total number of hours flown since the last rest period at their base. During the rest period, no duties may be performed by that pilot, official pilot duties. And the 3-month and 12-month rule in this situation is no more than 350 hours during any 90-day period and no more than 1,000 hours during a 12-month period. At times, pilots or flight attendants may need to be transported from one city to another city to perform official duties for the airline. That is called a deadhead. So they sit as a passenger on the flight. You may have seen this if you've been on a plane before. Someone in uniform is on your plane and they are going from one city to another. If it is official company business, the reason that they're on that flight as a passenger, then it's called a deadhead. And time spent in deadhead transportation to and from duty assigned is not considered to be part of a pilot's rest period. Airlines and operators are also required to have a fatigue risk management system, and there are federal regulations that state how that fatigue risk management system should be operated. All fatigue risk management systems must include a fatigue risk management policy, education and awareness training program, reporting system, monitoring flight crew system, incident reporting process, and a performance evaluation. All airlines and operators are required to follow all of these rules, but there are times when a pilot may need to self-report that they are fatigued, and that was included in the fatigue risk management system that all operators are required to have. And that means that if a pilot has not received adequate rest, whether or not it's related to their duty day, the day prior, or that day, they still have to have a method by which they can call in and say, I have not had adequate rest and I should not be operating this flight. I'll also try to link some other articles below that are great for public consumption that aren't so bulky in lingo and legally worded. Follow my page if you'd like to stay up to date on aviation safety alerts, travel tips, and general aviation and airline information.